Governor Hochul's proposed a cap and invest program, which is a $1 billion tax on all businesses. Businesses that haven't been defined yet, exactly who qualifies or what the parameters are going to be, that's not defined. 2/3 of this revenue is going to go presumably to the general fund because it's also not defined what we're doing with this $1 billion, but it's $1 billion in her budget. Presumably this cap and invest program is aimed at lowering greenhouse gas emissions, and this is predominantly what we're talking about here is about energy, because that's where most of this is coming from, energy policy. To emit less gases, you're going to need to do one of two things. You're either going to need to consume less, which is going to drive people and economic activity outside of the state, or you're going to have to transition to some sort of cleaner energy. And unfortunately for our friends on the other side of the aisle, that's where the discussion stops. They say, we take option B, we're going to have cleaner energy, and that's it. That's your middle school analysis that's been brought to this problem. The infrastructure to do this simply does not exist in New York State. The Climate Action Council has a scoping plan. Their own numbers estimate $272 billion, that's billion with a B, that this is going to cost. That's their number, which means that in reality that number is probably twice that or more. $20,000 to $40,000 a year to retrofit homes to go to an electric. That's 1 to 2 million homes, and we're going to do all this by 2030. So in the next 6 years, there's enough labor, there's enough materials, there's enough time and money in the pockets of 1 to 2 million homeowners to retrofit their houses. Not to mention millions and millions of gas vehicles that aren't going to be allowed on the roads by 2035. And at the same time, the proposal is to abandon tens of billions of dollars of usable, still valid infrastructure that's already in place in the ground serving our needs. We're going to walk away, and somebody's going to pay for that. We're going to walk away from billions of dollars of other alternatives that are currently in use. We're going to build an all-new infrastructure. Now, anyone that's ever spent 10 minutes in government, and a lot of us have local government experience, we're very familiar with projects like these, but in 6 years we're going to get there. At $272 billion, we are going to design, we're going to acquire property, we're going to get through eminent domain processes and NIMBY protests. We're going to have a perfect supply chain. We're not going to have a labor shortage because we've got plenty of labor sitting around right now looking for stuff to do. We're going to increase energy costs, and we are going to lose businesses, we're going to lose tax revenue, and we are going to lose people to other states. And what are we talking about? What is the needle that we're proposing, that the governor and the other side of the aisle is proposing here? 0.4% of the planet's global emissions. One of the other speakers says, well, what do we got, a bubble over top of New York State? If we eliminated our 0.4%, does that move the needle on the atmosphere? Clearly not. So why are we doing this? So the stated goal is this is going to be better for the environment. I'm not sure 0.4% is going to move the needle. We covered that. All right, well, when you start pressing on the other side of the aisle, how do you defend that? Well, the next thing that comes out of their mouth is, well, you know what, we're going to lead, though. We're going to do it because it's the right thing to do, and if we do it, others will follow. Anyone that's been paying attention to the news for the last century, Russia, China, India, not interested in global energy policy, not interested in clean environment, certainly not interested in what New York State is doing on this front, let alone Pennsylvania and Ohio. Pennsylvania and Ohio will say, we'll take those jobs, we'll open the stores that are going to supply your plumbing parts for everything that's going to happen in New York State. So it's laughable to say that we're going to lead by example and the rest of the country and the rest of the planet is going to follow. So all that's left here after that is this is a political gimmick. They are making a political statement. They are preaching to their choir. They are virtue signaling that they care about the environment, and those that oppose this or question it somehow do not. It's absolutely laughable. This whole plan is unrealistic, it's unreliable, it's unaffordable, and it lacks even middle school level science and math. Thank you, Leader. Thank you very much.